Hello and welcome to Sevlievo in Bulgaria for the opening round of the UEM 125 European Championship. Of course, you're joining us live and exclusive on MX Live TV. My name's Paul Malin. And Bulgaria, the host for the past couple of seasons for the FIM World Championship. Obviously, it's the second round of that series, but it's the first round for the European 125 riders. And we've got the two riders who were champions last year. Well, Simone Zecchina and Samuel Bernardini actually finished in fourth place, but was on course to win the championship last year. They've moved up.
Magic lives here.
But Tim Giser, who finished second last year with more than his fair share of podiums, is the keen favourite to win not only this weekend, but potentially the championship. That's a quick look at the circuit here at Sevlievo. Yesterday we had interchangeable conditions throughout the day, but for the 125 riders at the end of the day, conditions pretty much perfect and probably not too dissimilar to what they are now. So that first race winner was Tim Giser, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in due course. Well, there is Tim Giser, the KTM rider riding for Silver Action KTM. Looking cool, calm and collected. Alongside him, the young 15-year-old sensation riding the Rockstar Energy Suzuki, Jorge Zaragoza. Finished second in the 85cc European Championship last year. Didn't get a chance to go for the 85cc World Championship, though, at Chingali last year. Broke his wrist. But showing everybody here yesterday that despite his tender years, he is a guy to be reckoned with, certainly at some point throughout the season and, of course, in the future. Finished second yesterday in the first race to Tim Giser, but was about 12 seconds down. But Giser, though, was helped by the fact that he got a good start. The KTM Italian Maglia rider, Bonini there, had a good ride as well, finishing in third position. Started third, actually got up to second for a few laps before being passed by Zaragoza in the closing stages of the race. So it was a win for Tim Giser. Led every single lap, although he did have a bit of a mishap, though. Fell with, what was it, about a couple of laps into the race, coming down out of the left-hander on the approach to the finish line jump. And he was able to mount, or remount, before losing any positions. This is how they lined up. The time training was fastest for Tim Giser. Zaragoza went to the line second ahead of Davide Bonini. Henry Jacobi of Germany on the Bodo Schmidt KTM. Then it was Paul Jonas on the KSM racing team. He was the 85cc FIM Junior World Champion last year. Won it by a couple of points from the American Chase Bell. That was at Chingali, of course. And then we had James Dunn, who qualified in sixth position on the HM Plant KTM, but he had a bit of a tough time, did James Dunn. Crashed on the opening lap, came round completely last on the opening lap, but he carved his way through the field. It was 3 laps before he actually passed anybody. He eventually came good, started working his way up through the field, got to the points, got to 19th. And James Dunn, based on the fact that he got a couple of podiums as well last year, he is one of the favourites. But we do have a very strong field here in 2012. Monster Energy 15-second board is up. That is about to turn to 5, and we are ready to go racing here in Sevlievo. And the gate drops. All the favourites are going to be up the inside. Look at that Giser on that Silver Action KTM. Comes right across. Gives himself plenty of room. It's Bonini there in second, Zaragoza in third place, although they're in second, maybe just scrubbing his way through. In fact, Zaragoza there in about fourth or fifth place. The tiny little Spaniard. But it's the 2-4-3, Tim Giser, top of the hill from Bonini. Then, whoa, that looked a little bit close for comfort, but yeah, corner at the bottom of the hill. Getting it all wrong. Simon Filotti. James Dunn's got a good start. He's in fifth position. That's him there, actually. Fourth place, number 200 on the HM Plant KTM UK machine. So he's on the charge. A much better start for him in drier conditions. A couple of riders down. One rider certainly at the bottom of the hill. Can't quite see who that is, but obviously having problems getting going. And if that was Jacobi, actually, 29. He hasn't, no, he's down in, well, he was 17th at the first split, but he could have gone down at the bottom of the hill just after that. So, of course, we'll keep an eye on that, but already opening up a bit of a lead, just like he did in race 1 yesterday, is 2:43. And that's Tim Giser, almost towards the end of the lap. Nicely over the Monster Energy tabletop. The ruts there, actually, you can't see it from this camera angle, but very long, very deep as well. They're going to cause 1 or 2 problems as they rut out throughout the course of the day, but working his way down. This won't be a first lap registered. You have to go over the finish line twice for that to happen. But it's Giser from Davide Bonini on the Italia Maglia KTM. Simon Ferlotti, number 95, is in 3rd place on the Castellari Suzuki. A problem there for Jorge Zaragoza at the top end of the circuit. So that long uphill step has caught out Jorge Zaragoza, and he's going to drop from what was 4th position, and he's way down the order now. So we've got Giser, Bonini, Ferlotti, James Dunn, good ride for him in 4th position at the moment. He'll be coming into view any moment now on the KTM. Then there's Yates corner. That's where that rider crashed at the bottom of the hill earlier on. It's obviously still trying to get going just there, look. Then we have the 274 of Anton Lundgren from Sweden on his KTM. Then it's Henry Ruisberg, Nicholas Adams, the young Brit there in 8th place. Then Henry Jacobi 9th. Alessio Della Mora down in 10th. Philip Hodmol, he's had a good start in 11th place. Then it's the 722 of Michael Montavani. Then Carl Bengtsson. And then just behind them, Jordi van Nobelen. Just looking through our, is that the 48? It's gone down. So 48, Rotislav Wojcicki. I think I got that right. Excuse me if I didn't, but he's down in 21st position before that little mishap. But the 99 of Jorge Zaragoza down in 39th position. Obviously had that crash at the top of the hill. Wonder actually if he came in for maybe any running repairs, just, because just after that, when they drop down the hill towards the finish line area, they can pull off into the work zone in pit lane. But that'll hamper his chances, it seems, at the moment of trying to get an overall podium first time out in this 125 UEM European Championship round. 1 official lap complete then. And it's Tim Giser, fastest man on track, 157.7, riding the 243 Silver Action KTM. The man in blue there on the Team Italia Maglia KTM is Davide Bonini. Of course, that was the ride that Samuele Bernardini had that took him to, well, a whole bunch of race wins last year. Double moto victory in the Czech Republic, but then he got hurt at the FIM Junior World Championship on home soil at Cingoli, did Samuele Bernardini, and he missed the British round and, of course, didn't score in Italy. Oh, the back end is coming around there on Ferlotti's Suzuki. Ferlotti riding for Team Castellari, the Italian team, but look at that. Well, that was who it was, the 141 of Paul Jonas, the Latvian. So the 85cc FIM world champion from 2011 goes out, and we've got a 4 on the tabletop. 183, that'll be Nathan Renkens of the Kimi Raytech Yamaha team. That's the first big tabletop after the first turn through the bomb hole, and then before turn 3, heading up the first of the inclines here. But no such problems at the moment for our race leader on the Silver Action KTM, Tim Giser. Nice kid, very quietly spoken, but confident as well. He's actually going to be riding in all the UEM 125 European rounds, as well as the UEM EMX 2 championship round. So potentially looking at trying to go for a double European Championship title assault in 2012. And of course, he's going to ride the odd MX2 wildcard round as well towards the end of the year, where, of course, calendars allow. And you can only assume that he's getting ready to gear himself up to move up into the FIM MX2 World Championship Division for 2013 full-time. But you watch him out on track. I was watching him this morning in warm-up particularly, and his body language, his posture, his poise, and the way that he attacks the circuit. Certainly the rider that I feel at this stage of the championship, even though we are at round one, he's doing everything just that little bit better than everybody else. Maybe that year that he had last year, 2011, was a good learning year for him. And certainly he didn't have a great ride here last year, but certainly picked it up by round two and onwards, and eventually came home in second in the championship. So he's certainly looking for bigger and better things in 2012. It's Giser who leads, Davide Bonini is second, Simone Fillotta is third, James Dunn is fourth. They're already ahead of this group here. Then we've got Anton Lundgren, Jaap Corner down in sixth place. That's the number 79. Then Henry Jacobi is in seventh place, riding number 29. That's the 191, Philip Podmore. That's 11th then. So Alessio Delamora, number 114, just ahead of him. And just ahead of those is Henry Roosberg, and Nicholas Adams still having a great ride in 8th place, riding the number 16, the young Brit rider. Number 8 there. So this is Gianluca Deggi. He's down in 16th place. So we've got all kinds of things going on over all different parts of the circuit as they work their way down the hill. Some riders choosing to double that and dropping in, but you can see the lines down there. We had big rain here on Wednesday when I arrived, pretty much coming from Sofia, which is a couple hours or so down the road to the southwest of where we are here at Sevlievo. The sun came out on Thursday, and then Friday night we had a couple of hours, but the circuit on Saturday was absolutely perfect, and we thought we'd get away with it. A couple of big storms came blowing in across the way, a little bit high and wide there for one rider. But we didn't escape it, and during the MX2 qualifying race we had on-off rain for certainly the first half of the race, and conditions were very difficult. You can see the hard, shiny surfaces on the circuit now. Well, you add a load of rain onto that, and you can imagine what the MX2 guys were faced with. No such problems for the MX1 riders, though, later on in the afternoon. And then, of course, the first European MX 125 race, there were no such problems for those either. Conditions similar to what they are now. So there's Jorge Zaragoza. He's working his way through. That's the number 99 Rockstar Energy Suzuki rider. And where's he now on the leaderboard? Well, he's up to 24th place, so showing a good burst of speed, keeping it nice and low. Takes another rider there. That'll be the number 15 of Stin Hoffman. He's got Riccardo Righi just ahead of him, 997. Looks to have gone by him, has he? The 110 just ahead of him, so Alex Verheij. And this is for 21st place, so Zaragoza. And he's trying to go around the Kawasaki rider. That little two-stroke Suzuki got good power. But I tell you what, Verheij not giving it in, not letting him have it all his own way, but gets a good line through there. And he's now up in the 21st is Zaragoza, so that first lap excursion cost him a lot of time. We'll give you some idea of his lap time in a moment as well. But Dick Damians will be next on his list, riding number 64. Damians last year, a regular finisher in the European Championship, but only down in 27th place in the 2011 series. But there's Tim Giser, our race leader. Last time he was 1:57.3, his fastest lap. The previous lap of 57.2, so been pretty consistent with his lap times, but he has 5.7 seconds over that rider there in blue on the Italian Maglia KTM, Davide Bonini. Again, Bonini finished down in 14th in the championship last year, so obviously riding for the Italian Federation team under the watchful eye of Thomas Travasini, former Grand Prix rider, a 4th place finish in the 125 World Championship at the turn of the century, sort of around 2000, 2001. And doing a great job with the young kids that are coming through from Italy as well. James Dunn in third place. He's about 5 seconds further back, just there on the HM Plant KTM UK. Pretty much similar to what he did last year, actually. James Dunn had an 8th in the first moto due to 1 or 2 problems, then came home 3rd in the second moto. Obviously, he fell a little bit further behind in the first race yesterday due to an off-track excursion on the opening lap, but he worked hard eventually, like I say, at the start of the program. Came from way down, took him 2 or 3 laps to get going, but once he did, he was picking off 2 and 3 riders each lap, and towards the end of the race, that didn't change either. Never got overtaken throughout the course of the race either, did James Dunn, and he actually took 2 riders on the last lap as well, so problems there, well, not quite problems, but you see the areas, the little pockets of moist ground where they've watered the track as well. It's already around about sort of 14, 15 degrees outside. So obviously trying to keep on top of track conditions are the organisers. So James Dunn coming through the final corner here before rejoining on the tabletop just there. There is a neat little line actually, high and wide, and you can hit the face of that tabletop, keeping it nice and low as opposed to getting airborne. Got a rider down on the upslope here in the background. Obviously got a load of track fencing wrapped around that rear wheel. Oh, 372 goes down as well. Even Baronoff. Oh, somebody down through the waves at the top of the hill. And that's the 63. So Carl Bengtsson of Sweden, Team Mafia Yamaha. Looks like he's hit the ground pretty hard, front face first, because that peak's dropped down over the goggles. This is the first one. That was the 372 of Ivan Baronoff, and then that's at the top of the hill before the finish line after the triple, but Carl Bengtsson looks to have sorted himself out. Not sure if we have a replay of that, but that looks like it was at the end of the wave section where he got that wrong. So we've got then 1-2 Calvin Verlanderen. He's down in 14th place on the Bodo Schmidt KTM. Just ahead of him there, the 99, and that rear mudguard already flapping around from the impact that he took towards the end of that first lap. Jorge Zaragoza, nice kid, speaks nice English. And did he? No, I thought he'd gone up the inside then of Verlanderen, but already into 15th position is the young Rockstar Suzuki rider. So Thomas Ramsbacher, Jens Johansson, the guys there, keen to see this guy improve, but have stated, as you would expect, you know, we're not putting any pressure on him. They know he's a talent, a super kid. And I think secretly deep down they're expecting good things from him. In fact, Thomas Ramsbacher was saying, just let's have a session where the track's going to be completely dry, and we'll see how fast this kid is. The 112 of Verlanderen tripling in. Bengtsson goes, Zaragoza goes to the inside. He's got the inside line coming down the hill as well, but gets his nose chopped off just before the finish line jump. Comes over the line now, though, as him and Verlanderen both go by a rider. They move up into 12th and, well, 14th. Podmol is in between them. Philip Podmol, the 191. The Czech rider on the KTM. And he's gone by Verlanderen now, as Zaragoza scrubbing his way through over that first Monster Energy tabletop jump. He's got 3 riders ahead of him. They're going to be Tommy Del Pietri, Alessio Delamore, and Henry Ruziorg, sorry. Look at the ruts at the bottom of the hills. Can't see how big and deep they are, but knowing from experience walking around here the last few years, when we get conditions like this, same with the ruts on the face of that jump there. Sometimes you get a nasty little hook on the takeoff of that one where the riders just blip on the takeoff, but this guy here completely in control. Tim Giser, 156.9 last time around, the fastest lap of the race, comes over the line now, 57.2, so only 0.3 slower than he was just a lap ago. Davide Bonini, he'll be pleased with this. This will be his best ever finish in a European UEM 125 championship race. 9 seconds further back, though. Well, yeah, James Dunn closing in. Was faster than Bonini last time around, and there is the battle for second position. The blue of Bonini and the orange KTM, the HM Plant UK KTM rider. James Dunn was pretty much a privateer last year, but been upgraded to a team that's going to be contesting the World Championship on a regular basis. That takes a little bit of pressure off in terms of finding your own way to the race and bringing your own bikes and that kind of thing. A little bit further down, we've got the 77, and they're outside of the points, actually. That'll be Arminas Jasikonis, the Lithuanian. Wait for him to come over the line, but like I say, those guys outside of the points. There was 64, Dietger Damien, so he's on the edge of the point, so he's got a whole bunch of riders just behind him. Has Dietger Damien's Ricardo Rigi, Stin Hoffman, and Jasikonis. That's our rider that crashed earlier, Carl Bengtsson. This is that gaggle of riders as they come through, but with just under 8 minutes to go, +2, it's Tim Giser, 9 seconds clear of Davide Bonini, who's being caught by James Dunn on the HM Plant KTM. Then we've got Anton Lundgren, Henry Jacobi, Jaap Korneth, Nick Adams has moved up into 7th position, riding the number 16. And just behind them, it's Magnus Klingsheim. Henry Ruzior is in 9th place. We've got Del Pietri in 10th, then it's Zaragoza in 11th place. This battle here is Gianluca Deghi. He's down in 17th, that number 8, KTM on the extreme left of the wave section, just here now. So just ahead of him, Ivan Baranov and Philip Podmol in 15th position. And I think joining those guys any moment now, or sort of knocking on the door for 10th place, is Zaragoza. And look at that, he's got 2 riders within a second of him. 95 goes out, Filotti's out on the Castellari Suzuki. So not sure what the problem is there, but whether he's had a fall or what, but putting the front brake, yeah, completely gone, no front brake. Cylinder's gone, pressure's gone. And from the look, well, one of them at least is giving him a hug, the other one is sort of maybe saying maybe for the last 6.5 minutes you could have stuck it out. Just riding around with the back brake as the back end comes around on Zaragoza, who's now up into 9th place. He's, 9 seconds down on Nicholas Adams. And his lap time last time around for this kid here, Zaragoza, was a 158.3 compared to the 203.7 of Nick Adams. And we feel in the next couple of laps, whoa, needs to keep it a little bit cleaner than that, though, does Zaragoza. But you feel over the next 2 or 3 laps he's going to be all over the rear wheel of Nick Adams, and then he's going to be knocking on the door for 3 positions potentially. Magnus Klingsheim and Jaap Korneth for 6th place. Henry Jacobi is probably just a little bit too far up the field, but certainly Zaragoza, the way that he's riding, barring any more mistakes, he's going to be potentially 6th place. 5.5 plus 2. And the fastest lap of the race for the 2:43. Of Tim Giser, the Slovenian. So the Silver Action KTM rider taking 2 whole shots so far this weekend, led every lap yesterday in Moto number 1. Bonini over the line, that gap down to 2 seconds between Davide Bonini and James Dunn. James Dunn again lapping almost a second quicker than Bonini. Choice of lines varying there, and I tell you what, that was a smart line there from Tim Giser, going to the outside. There were no braking bumps or acceleration bumps on landing and going through that turn. He had a nice smooth takeoff as well, enabling him to get all the way over that step down. Other riders have been going to the inside. It's been hooking out a little bit choppy, so therefore you run the risk of the rear wheel coming out on you, and then maybe not getting the distance that you like. So just carrying good corner speed, good momentum, and is very, very consistent. Anton Lundgren is still there in 4th place. Jacobi is still 5th. Klingsheim, Korneth, Adams, Zaragoza now only 7 seconds down on Nick Adams. Calvin Blanderen is already 5 seconds further back in 10th place than the 2:23 of Tommaso Di Pietri, Team Castellari Suzuki rider. He's in 11th, and Alessio Della Mora down in 12th, riding the 1:14. That's the younger kid brother of this guy here. Tim Giser, Golden Tire guys looking on as well. Team sponsors for Silver Action KTM. Dropping downhill then, so I'm guessing we're going to have 4 laps to go in this second UEM European 125 race. They had their first race yesterday, and that was won by Tim Giser with Jorge Zaragoza in second. Davide Bonini was third, so Bonini looking good for second overall this weekend. That's not Bonini, that's that 145, 148. Might be Eccles, actually, Michael Eccles, the young Brit on the WPR KTM. And just looking to see where he is in the race, down in 32nd place, actually. Young Michael Eccles finished 24th in Moto number 1. Gained a few positions, lost a few positions, pretty much ended up where he started in that first race. So 183, Nathan Renkens on the Kimi Raytec Yamaha. Again, another rider just outside the points, but there's Renkens. There's Zaragoza. He is in 9th place. Adams is in 8th, being passed by Jaap Corneth. So Corneth on the move. 54.4 last time around, so I'm just in fact 204 last time around. That gap between Adams and Zaragoza, just 3 seconds. But here is Tim Giser, Silver Action KTM rider, over the Monster Energy finish line now, and it will be 3 laps to go. And he's been in quite confident mood all weekend. It's almost like he knows he's got a job to do. Was one of the stronger riders in the championship towards the end of last year. In fact, last year here, took 5th and 6th place finishes. He got a second for the first time in the second moto in Sweden at round 2. Then he took 2/3 in Germany. Czech Republic, he got a 3rd and a 2nd. He took a win in Great Britain at Matterley Basin, but DNF'd the second race early on in the race. Fell, couldn't get the bike started, then took 2 wins in Italy. Hence why he's the favourite, and no surprise as to why he's out there doing what he's doing at the moment. He's 12.5 seconds clear of Davide Bonini, just here in blue. Oh, mistake there, James Dunn. Well, he came over the line a 1.5 seconds behind, and you can see already James Dunn is now challenging for second place on that HM Plant KTM UK machine. Goes to the inside, whereas Bonini gets to drive on his KTM. Didn't hit as many acceleration bumps, but James Dunn a little bit quicker through there because Bonini being held up by a back marker, and it looks like James Dunn making a challenge there. Look at this, the leg falls off here, digs the front in, misses the line. And James Dunn, they're split by a back marker here at the bottom of the next hill. Dunny goes around the outside. Again, gets good drive, gets right up on the rear wheel of the man in blue in second position. Number 999, Davide Bonini on the Italian Magni KTM. So these guys then, with just over 2 laps to go, providing something of a grandstand finish for the fans here at Sevlievo, Bulgaria. Tripling in, both riders, yeah. But Giser already over the line with a 58.7 lap time. And he's 13.3 clear. And Bonini actually is regrouped well in the second half of that lap, because James Dunn was all over the back of him going up the second incline, heading up towards turn 6. James Dunn just there, 200 in 3rd place. Anton Lundgren is still in 4th, we assume, waiting for him to come over the line, but that gap between 3rd and 4th, there is, well, 30 seconds, just over 30 seconds. And then we've got Henry Jacobi, he is in 5th place. Magnus Klingsheim comes over the line in 6th. Then we wait for Jaap Corneth, the Dutch rider. He's in 7th place. And is it going to be Nick Adams? No, it's Jorge Zaragoza goes 8th. Adams, we're waiting for him 9th. He comes over the line now, and he's being harassed now by Calvin Vlaanderen from the Netherlands in 10th position. Then we got Tommaso Di Pietri in 11th place. And before this lap, it was Ivan Baranov, but he's lost 2 positions to Alessio Della Mora and Václav Kova. 274 going through. Anton Lundgren, that's our 4th place rider. There's Zaragoza doing everything he can to try and close in. He's only 3 seconds down on Jaap Corneth of the Netherlands, who's on the number 79 KTM, just a couple seconds of him. Oh, I thought he was out through the front door then, but I tell you what, this is a good recovery for him, because he's now looking at potential 3rd place in the overall round here. He probably won't know that until he comes in. Oh, who's that? 312, 372. That's Baranov, so that's why Baranov, he lost a couple of positions just a moment ago. Baranov has completely gone from the leaderboard. He lost 2 or 3 positions, but then, of course, the rest of the riders came through. He was down on the track. A slight mistake there from Zaragoza. The kid's only 48, 49 kilos. Probably wet through as well, just to get him on the bike. But the last lap, there's Anton Lundgren. Giser, Bonini, James Dunn already through. But in terms of the overall, Tim Giser will take the 2 race wins. James Dunn all over the back of Bonini again. This is it. This is crunch time for James Dunn and Bonini. Pushing hard down the hill. He's got the inside, gets out of the corner early. Avoids some of those acceleration bumps going up the hill. Needs to get good drive through this wave section. Both riders doing just that, though. Dunn, is he going to go to the inside? Comes out of the turn nice and early. Henry Jacobi could be on the podium, though, as well, because Zaragoza, if he loses any more positions, or if Henry Jacobi gains a position, but he's not going to do that. Actually, Lundgren is, 6 seconds clear of him, barring any mistakes, but this guy here, looking at the first overall win of the season, Tim Giser, the Silver Action KTM rider, takes the checkered flag as he wins here. He lights the candles on the Monster Energy finish line jump, and it's a perfect day for Tim Giser of Slovenia. 2 wins, he takes the overall. And Bonini comes over the line in 2nd ahead of James Dunn. So it was a tight finish in the end for Bonini, and James Dunn was a 2nd in the end, but we're looking back towards Anton Lundgren. He's about 30 seconds further back at this moment in time. And, of course, Henry Jacobi was in 5th place at the start of the lap. Zaragoza, though, was absolutely neck and neck with Jaap Corneth. So it could be that Zaragoza maybe even takes 7th position here, and that'll give him another point in the championship chase. But there's James Dunn. Of course, we're going to be catching up with our race winner, Tim Giser, any moment now. There's Zaragoza at the top of the hill. And there is Jaap Corneth. I think he's just going to run out of time. Here's the young Spaniard, because Corneth just ahead of him pulls the cable right back, and Corneth just hangs on for 7th. Zaragoza is 8th. Vlaanderen just comes over the line now in 9th. But they'll probably just give him a pit board signal now and say you're 3rd overall. So, yeah, there you go. Thumbs up to the team. And a good ride, yeah, Hansen there the first guy further away leading the way. Here's
Tim,
Tim
another
Giser.
strong race for you this weekend.
Yeah, it was a good race. I have a very good start, and also I drive very well. So I win. I'm really happy.
Well done.
That's what I mean. Quietly confident, quite shy person, but just pretty much says it how it is, really. Yeah, I came here, I rode good, and took the win. Nothing more he can say, really. Didn't get into the logistics of it all. Didn't need to, really. So the riders then coming over the line to finish. We'll give you, of course, classification in a minute. But Tim Giser for now, Davide Bonini, James Dunn, they top three. Anton Lundgren, this is the moment that Tim Giser came over the line to take that second moto win, the first of the day here on Sunday. Perfect score for him this weekend, and Silver Action KTM. Lundgren came over the line in fourth. Henry Jacobi came over the line in fifth. Then it was Magnus Klingsheim, Jaap Corner, Jorge Zaragoza was 8th, Calvin Vallanderen was 9th, Nicholas Adams, a good ride for him in the points, in 10th, and then it was Tommaso De Pietri, 11th. Václav Kovar was 12th, Alessio Della Mora, 13th, Gianluca Deggi was 14th, Dike Damians was 15th, Michael Mantovani was 16th, Stein Hoffman was 17th, Riccardo Righi, Henry Ruziorg, and it was Laranaga down in 20th place on the number 81 machine. And here is confirmation. Giser, Bonini, Dunn. Lundgren, Jacobi, Klingshelm, Corner, and Zaragoza picking himself up from what was third or fourth place on the first lap. He crashed and fought all the way back through to 8th in the end. Vallanderen, Adams, Di Pietri, Kovar, Della Mora, Deggi, Damians, and Mantovani. 17th was Stin Hoffman, 18th Riccardo Righi, 19th Henri Ruziorg, and 20th place was the number 81 Spaniard, and that was Iker Laranga. Michael Eccles down in 31st position. He would have wanted a little bit more from that after his 24th in the first race yesterday. But they were saying today, you know, some boys out there, they're pretty fast guys, and no kidding. Disappointment there for Pauls Jonas, the Latvian, the 2011 85cc World Junior Champion. Went out on the first lap at the bottom of the hill. Overall round victory then looks like this. Double race win, 50 points for Tim Giser. Davide Bonini and Jorge Zaragoza edges out Henry Jacobi by a point. And then it was Lundgren, Klingshelm, Vallanderen and Dunn, 8th overall. Probably not too dissimilar to where he was last year as well for James Dunn. But he'll be more than pleased with that second position, that's for sure. 16th overall for Nick Adams. And Laranaga from Spain as well. Good points for him. 17th. Baranov, he went out of that second race. No wonder he was disappointed. He was looking at maybe a top 15 finish before that mishap. So the Bulgarian crowd sort of making their way into the circuit. Some of them have been here a while already because, of course, they've come to watch the home favourite, I think you could say. Born in Sevlievo, the 152 Petar Petrov. Now it's a Suzuki factory rider, of course, but overall championship looks like this, same as the overall. So Tim Giser, Davide Bonini, Jorge Zaragoza, Henry Jacobi, Lundgren, Magnus Klingshelm, Calvin Vallanderen and James Dunn. 9th, Jaap Corner and Del Pietri. Simone Fallotti, Righi, Mantovani, Della Mora, Alessio Della Mora. Good ride for Adams as well, down there in 16th place. But Pauls Jonas, 20th for him. At 14th in Moto number 1 yesterday, 7 points only on the board. He would have wanted a little bit more than that, really, because, well, he would have been looking at the performance from Zaragoza getting on the podium this weekend. Those two would have been the favourites for the 85 crown last year at Cingali. in the middle of August, but it was Paul's who was unchallenged in the end, a win in a second. KTM and Suzuki, well, pretty much the only two manufacturers now that make two-stroke machines, so maximum points for KTM in that respect. Suzuki, 35 points. So the sun's shining here in Sevlievo, Bulgaria. We're getting ready for the podium. The bikes are already lined up. The bike in the centre, the 243 of the Slovenian Silver Action KTM rider Tim Giser. To the left, here's the 999, but the 99 of the Rockstar Energy Suzuki rider, the pint-sized 48-kilo Spaniard Jorge Zaragoza. 999 Italia Maglia KTM rider Davide Bonini takes second position, his best finish for sure, and our overall winner, Silver Action KTM of Slovenia, Tim Giser. Team owner there from Silver Action as well, taking the podium as well. Third place trophy then for Jorge Zaragoza. He'll be more than pleased with that. After a second place finish in the first race yesterday and going down on the first lap, he must have been thinking, well, there goes a podium. Second place for Davide Bonini. I think he looks quite happy, don't you? And our overall winner, no doubt about it, really, this weekend. Even off the Mayor of Sevlievo, hands Tim Giser his first place trophy, holds it up fairly quickly and then puts it back down again. And Marco Madashi, the KTM Silver Action team manager, picks up the manufacturer's award for KTM. Of course, there's one thing left to pick up, and I think that would be the tiny matter here of the red plate. Eddie Hurd presenting that eventually to Tim Giser after congratulating Davide Bonini and Jorge Zaragoza. Eddie Hurd, the UEM representative from the ACU in Great Britain. Well, that can only mean one thing. Tim Giser, your overall winner. Time for the national anthem of Slovenia. So the Slovenian national anthem for Tim Giser, Austrian national anthem for KTM, winning manufacturer this weekend. So the riders then ask themselves, do we open the bubbly now, or do we spray each other? Do we spray the crowd? Do we spray the bikes? Well, there's your answer. Let's just jump off and roost the photographers. And, oh, boys will be boys. Certainly the one at the back there, number 99, Jorge Zaragoza, just 15 years old, won't be 16 until sometime in May, but we'll be pleased just to have got on the podium. So too will Davide Bonini. I was just looking down at the championship position from last year. Only picked up 3 points here for 18th in the first race in Bulgaria. Got a 9th in one moto in Sweden last year, another 18th in Germany, a 12th in the Czech Republic, and then, well, it wasn't until Great Britain and Italy that he actually started picking up scores in both races. A 6th place finish in Moto number 1 in Italy at Fermo, which is where we go next weekend, of course. That was his best ride of the season. So certainly the positions here this weekend for Davide Bonini. Third in race 1, second in race 2, second overall. The team and himself more than happy with that, I have absolutely no doubt. And what about Jorge Zaragoza as well? Just 15 years old, coming up from the 85s. Jens Johansson from Suzuki actually was saying that when he walked into the office at Suzuki in Belgium with his family and 1 or 2 other people, they thought, OK, well, there's no way he's going on a 250. And they were surprised that he was even putting himself on a 125. But he said, boy, but the kid is fast. And well, we saw the way that he carved his way through the field, that that's certainly the case. Well, we're getting ready for the interviews with our winners. Here's Amy, and she's with Tim Giser.
Tim, a great start to your 2012 title campaign.
Yeah, it's a good start. In the first heat, I have very good start, and also I drive very good, so I win. And in second heat, it was the same, so I'm really happy for these results. I want to say thanks for all my sponsor and my trainer, my father, everybody. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it doesn't really get any better than that, does it? KTM Silver Action rider from Slovenia, Tim Giser, led every single lap of both motos this weekend, was also fastest in the time practice as well by 1.2 seconds, winning both races comfortably, apart from that minor hiccup on the second lap at the start of moto number 1 yesterday, coming out of the final turn, dropping down to the finish line where he lost the wheels. Didn't lose a position though, regained his composure quickly enough and was already streaking ahead even after that. So perfect day here for him. Second overall though, it was Davide Bonini on the Italia Maglia KTM. He's down by the podium waiting to speak to Amy, see what he has to say.
David, a consistent weekend.
Yes, it's a very good weekend for me. I'm happy. I take 2 good starts in the 2 races. The first race I finished third, and the second I'm happy for the championship, for everything. So thanks the team, the UFO, everything.
Well done.
So Davide Bonini then third yesterday, second today, good enough for second overall. When we go to Italy in a week's time, Fermo, will he be able to challenge Tim Giser though? That's the question. Going to be a little bit more comfortable on home soil. Going to be a little bit harder packed down there, a little bit more slick. Of course, if the weather stays hot, which we hope it is, but he was put under pressure though by James Dunn in the closing stage of that race, but held on well for that second place, and that was good enough for second overall. Third overall this weekend, he took a second in moto number 1, 8th here in the second race.
Jorge, a tough second race there for you, but you finished third.
Yes, now in the second race, I have a good start. I was in 3rd position, but then I crashed and I lost everything. But then I start again. I start to reading good. I feel good, and I think I finished in 8th. And yesterday also was very good. I finished in 2nd position. So, well, today in the podium, so I'm very happy. And now try to do the same in Fermo.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a bad start to the 2012 UEM 125 European Championship for Jorge Zaragoza. Despite 1 or 2 little moments like that, he... and of course that crash as well on the opening lap of this second race that he just alluded to there